Plus on the news, Federal Government of Nigeria begins free conversion of 150 commercial vehicles in Oyo State in a bid to achieve a cheaper and sustainable transport sector. From the international scene, Israel announces it is expanding its war efforts, shifting focus from Hamas in Gaza to also address Hezbollah along its northern border with Lebanon. Details of these coming your way soon. To stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, details of the news. Residents in Papi community and Abuja suburb in Buhari area council in the FCT are now living in fear following a mini earth tremor noticed in a section of the community going into the third day. Papi is situated less than 10 minutes away from Abuja Eyebrow district of Maitama. It's densely populated with many low earners as well as the middle class among its residents. Residents who spoke to journalists disclosed that the earth tremor experienced accompanied with a devastating sound, which was first noticed on Saturday and continued on Sunday as well as Monday. The situation is well noted around areas like PW neighborhood and Mopole 24 barracks, two areas sandwiched by the lonely single road that leads into the community. It has also been heard around Katanpek Junction, the area linked with the Murtala Mohammed Expressway. Some of the residents claim the buildings shake whenever the movement takes place, causing fear in the minds of the residents. They said there was movement about 10 times on Saturday alone from when it started sometime around 4 p.m., adding that the situation got worse the following day, Sunday. It was learned that the incident has been a routine occurrence in the axis, just as residents appeal to appropriate authorities to come to their aid. President Bola Tinubu announced the Disaster Relief Fund in Maiduguri, Borno State to assist Nigerian citizens impacted by flood and other disasters. He said the relief fund is already expedient as the climate becomes more unpredictable and many places in the country are vulnerable to the vagaries. President Tinubu announced this at the Borno Government House when he visited the state to sympathize with the government and people over the recent flooding from Elau Dam. He urged the private sector to continue to the fund. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who accompanied the president on the visit, said the National Assembly will collaborate with the executive to establish the fund. Tinubu visited the Shehu of Borno and internally displaced persons camp at the government secondary school in Maiduguri and at the drive-through of the areas affected by the disaster. The president thanked Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak of Kwara State, who is also chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, Sokoto State Governor Ahmed Aliyu, and Kogi State Governor Ahmed Usman Odudo, and other governors who look beyond party lines to bear the burdens of others. Now to other stories. Federal Government of Nigeria has begun free conversion of 150 commercial vehicles in Oyo State in a bid to achieve a cheaper and sustainable transport sector. This was made known in Ibadan by the Business Development Executive of the Presidential CNG, Louisa Afo, as part of government's effort to provide cheaper alternatives to the high cost of premium motor spirit. Amidst the ongoing fuel crisis in Nigeria, the federal government has intensified effort to promote the compressed natural gas initiative, with conversion kits being distributed to approved centers nationwide for commercial, and it is free of charge, while private vehicles get 50% discount. The transport unions, who were also engaged in sensitizing on the benefits of CNG innovation, welcome the development in the state transport sector. However, a new CNG user expressed concern about the cost of conversion, appealing to government to address this challenge.
It's cheaper. It is what we have. In short, Nigeria is not an oil country. It is a gas country. We have more gas in Nigeria than oil. So our oil is finite. Gas is here to stay. We have a lot of it. So it's more sustainable. It's free for commercial vehicles. NATO, NURTW, Raytheon, and even the state transport vehicles here. So it's free for them. And then we have a 50% discount for ride shares and e-hail.
Before I did it, I cover about 60 kilometers from my house to my workplace every day, to and fro. And then I used to buy 50,000 naira worth of PMX minimum to satisfy that need. And that means every month I buy between 200,000 and 250,000. But I must tell you, since I installed CNG, my average monthly spending for the same distances has been about 26,000 to 30,000.
Through the inquiry, we are inquiring on the CNG. So by the grace of God, it's very cheaper than the cost we are buying the fuel before. But definitely, the moment we started with the CNG, the price of our vehicle must go down.
Now to speak on CNG, we have Akin Ogunshola, economic and financial experts, joining us live from Abuja. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us on Galaxy TV News.
All right, good evening.
All right, so how do you see the development of state governments rolling out CNG buses and conversion kits? Let's have a reaction on that. How do you see that development?
Yeah, I think it's a welcome development, it's a sustainable development, and it's an affordable development. Nigerian citizens need to understand the fact that the cost of crude oil is actually high, and actually the fumes that come out of the vehicle that uses either petrol or diesel pollutes the environment. So talking about environmental sustainability, the CNG is very good for that. Talking about affordability, it's far cheaper. I think it's 230 naira per liter of the CNG. So compared to the almost 1,000 naira for the petrol, so I think it's actually good. It's a welcome development, and Nigerians should actually embrace it.
Okay, all right. So do you think this would be a reliable, lasting alternative to PMS, since we have some people complaining of the huge amounts they have to pay to convert their former engine to the one that will take CNG?
Yeah, the cost is actually high. The cost of conversion is high, but government has brought in a kind of a subsidy for those that are, public transport. They can convert it free of charge, without paying anything. And those in the private sector can pay 50%. So 50% of that, compared to the cost of the petrol in the long run, is still cheaper. So we still advise Nigerian citizens to go, for it. But one thing I would like to also add is that government should also, be in the forefront of this conversion. Let's say the governor driving a CNG car. All the cars in the cover of the governor, let's see it that is CNG vehicles, that the governor is not buying petrol. Then by then, the citizens can now, queue. But not that the governor and the leaders are using petrol vehicle and they are preaching CNG to the people. So they should also key into it as a leader. So that will motivate other people to, queue after them.
Okay, all right. So how do we ensure sellers of this CNG product don't get greedy with pricing when the supply for the commodity increases?
Yeah, NNPC is still, NNPC or NLNG. They still need to come into the sector to see that they control pricing of this natural gas, because it seems for now it's only NNPC, in collaboration with, I think, NIPCO or so, that are actually doing this conversion and have fuel refilling stations for the CNG. We need to have more persons, more investors come into the sector so that monopoly or this greed that we are trying to talk about will not set in. Because when the greed and monopoly set in, the sellers tend to actually try to increase the prices. But if other investors can come in, they deregulate it, make it an open market, I think there will be no room for greed or inflating the prices, of this CNG.
Your advice to the federal government in ensuring price stability, both for PMS and CNG.
To ensure price stability, just like we are seeing in the petroleum sector now, Dangote and so many other refineries are coming in to begin to refine. Yes, the same thing should happen to the CNG. Let us have other investors coming in, producing CNG. We've seen most of heavy-duty trucks using the CNG, and then they are moving very well. They are actually transporting. Cost of moving cement, petrol, and all that from one place to another has gone lower because those heavy-duty trucks are now using the CNG gas instead of diesel. Diesel is even far more expensive than the petrol. So that has also helped. And I can see more trailers, being converted from diesel engine to a CNG vehicle. So that will help us. We just want price stability. They should be properly deregulated, because when government is still regulating the prices, thinking of subsidizing and all that, that would be a problem. So let the CNG production, let it be deregulated, just the same thing as the petrol and the diesel too.
Okay, all right. We thank you so much for sharing your wealth of experience with us on Galaxy TV.
My pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. And that's Akin Ogunshola, economic and financial expert. And now moving on to other stories. At least 7 people have lost their lives to a cholera outbreak in the Yola North local government area of Adamawa State, while 71 others have been hospitalized. According to NEMA, the cholera outbreak was caused by a recent flood that contaminated the community's drinking water sources. The statement added that around 100 people were also under monitoring and observation. NEMA further disclosed that it had collaborated with the state government to implement emergency measures aimed at mitigating the impact of the disease. NEMA, along with the Adamawa state government, has initiated emergency measures including chlorinating toilets and providing water treatment to reduce the spread of infection. They have also conducted community education to raise awareness about the disease. NEMA is closely monitoring the situation and coordinating with stakeholders for timely intervention. You're still under the news on Galaxy TV. Let's go on a break. When we come back, the news continues. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates on the latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. Moving on to other stories. The Central Bank of Nigeria has confirmed that it will sustain its ways and means advances to the federal government at a 5% limit for the fiscal years of 2024 to 2025. The latest development is contrary to a bill passed by the National Assembly, which raised the maximum borrowing percentage in the Act from 5% to 10%. This information is based on the Monetary, Credit, Foreign Trade and Exchange Policy Guidelines for the fiscal years 2024 to 25, published by the Apex Bank on Tuesday. The guideline aligns with the MTFF, under which the CBN will manage expectations, implement time-consistent policies, address shock and support the ongoing recovery, and ensure the country's macroeconomic stability. The CBN added that the advances would now be determined after recognizing the sub-accounts of the various MDAs, which are now linked to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, to arrive at the Federal Government of Nigeria's consolidated cash position. The Lagos State government says an increase in boarding fees in its model colleges is inevitable to ensure better welfare of the students. This was contained in a statement by the State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, signed by the Deputy Director, Public Affairs of the Ministry, Ganiyu Lawal. Lawal noted that students in the boarding school were over 1% of the entire basic and secondary school student population in public schools in the state. According to Lawal, the 35,000 naira boarding fee being paid since 2021 is unrealistic in 2024. The Lagos State government approved the upward review of boarding fees payable in all boarding schools in Lagos State. And to other stories, Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, has assured a group of persons with disability that the agency would not capture them as persons of concern in the next monthly distribution exercise of relief items. The Executive Secretary of the agency, James Yopu, disclosed this when the disability group paid him a visit at the office premises in Makadi, where the persons with disability expressed displeasure over marginalization by SEMA and other bodies in the state. The state SEMA boss will appeal to the group led by their coordinator to be calm and not feel neglected, assure that the agency will not abandon them, promising it will not happen again, before offering immediate employment to one of the persons with disability and provided 100 cartons of noodles to support them, as well as wheelchair to one of them. Earlier, the coordinator, who had reeled out some of their challenges, expressed worries over the continuous neglect of persons with disability in spite of the support for Governor Ayosem Fadio-led administration, and solicited the agency's assistance.
We supported this party as persons with disability for quite a long time because the experience we had. The politics is going on. We are not benefiting anything. And even in your office, we have a lot of things that we heard that are happening, but we don't have access to it. Yes. Maybe as the meeting goes on, we'll be mentioning it one after another.
For 50 bags of fertilizer at Makurdi local government for the less privileged, which no person with disability was a benefactor to it.
So I'm very sorry for the lapses, the gap between you and my office. Today, God has made it possible for us to come together, and from today we start working together. Amen. I promise that whatever thing that comes into my office to be shared with Benue people, you will be first beneficiary. Amen.
Now to security. Police in Delta says it has arrested 5 suspected kidnappers terrorizing in the Delta community of Ewu Unegeli South Local Government area, as well as 2 suspects with 930 rounds of ammunition in Abbott Town. In a statement by the State Police Command spokesperson Daffy Bright, made available to newsmen, said the suspects were arrested by a crack team of the Anti-Crime Patrol attached to the Ugeli Area Command and the Abbott Division. According to the police, the operatives stormed the hideouts of the suspected kidnappers and arrested them through credible intelligence. The sum of 450,000 naira, which was part of the ransom money collected from one of the victims, was recovered from the suspects, as well as 1 locally made double-barrel gun and pistols. A suspected stolen Toyota car and 38 rounds of AK-47 ammunition was also recovered during the search of the hideouts of the criminals, according to the police. The Delta Police Commissioner, CP Olufemi Abaniwanda, reiterated the command's resolve to clamp down on criminal elements infiltrating the state from neighboring Anambra State, while also promising not to relent in the fight against criminality. Ahead of the September 21st governorship election in Edo State, the state governor, Godwin Obaseki, says he is pleased with the assurance by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoko, in providing adequate security during the elections. Governor Obaseki made the disclosure during a stakeholders meeting at the Government House in Benin City, the Edo State capital. The governor, who went into the meeting over the failure of his party to sign the peace accord, said the renewed commitment of the Inspector General of Police and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has built his trust ahead of Saturday's election. Now, we move to the international desk for more news.
Hello and welcome to the foreign news. Israel announced on Tuesday that it is expanding its war efforts, shifting focus from its nearly year-long campaign against Hamas in Gaza to also address Hezbollah along its northern border with Lebanon. This comes as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is expected to return to the region later this week to attempt to revive stalled ceasefire negotiations for the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza. Previously, Israel's objectives were primarily centered on crushing Hamas and securing the return of hostages taken by Palestinians militants during the October 7 attacks, which triggered the ongoing war. While the war has primarily concentrated on Gaza, the continuous exchanges of fire between Israeli troops and Hezbollah, an ally of Hamas in Lebanon, have displaced tens of thousands of people on both sides of the border. The Political Security Cabinet updated the war aims this evening, adding a new goal, the safe return of the northern residents to their homes, a statement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said.
And that's it for now, but do join us at 9 p.m. for our prime time news. My name is Aribami Salako.